thank you for your questions. They're really excellent ones. And I'm going to wrap a number of them together because several people wanted to ask the question, which is basically, what is the number one challenge to economic recovery, or what would be the single biggest factor for an economic recovery in an Obama victory or a Romney victory? So let me put it to you straight then. So what do we need for an economic recovery? Simple, please. Something that we can just do.
I think let me just give 2 or 3 things. The first is we need another round of stimulus. And fiscal stimulus. The monetary, as we said before, QE3 is not going to work, and anybody hopes, it's really, one of the criticisms of QE3 is it provides false hope that monetary policy will work. It's a fiscal stimulus we need. Secondly, we need to do something about the continuing problem in our housing market, the foreclosure crisis. 7 million Americans have lost their homes. If we don't do anything, another 2 to 4 million will lose their homes. And then, obviously, given my focus in my book on inequality, I think if we could address the problem of inequality, I think inequality is one of the things that's been weighing down our economy. Very simple fact. People at the top spend a smaller fraction of their income than people at the bottom. Whenever you have an increase in inequality, it depresses aggregate demand, and unless you offset that by creating a bubble like the Fed did before the crisis. So in my mind, addressing the problem of inequality would be both good from the long-run perspectives, from point of view of social cohesion, but also good for the economy right now.
Okay, and Ian, give us your top 2 or 3 policy prescriptions. It doesn't have to be the economy. What would you want to see happen after the election?
Well, I think that the most important thing, and this has been a big change historically for the U.S. abroad, you always wanted to deal with the secretaries of state made or broke themselves on the basis of the Middle East. That's going away. We have to get China right. Romney says if he becomes president, the first thing he's going to do on day 1 is declare China a currency manipulator. No, he won't. That's a lie. It's in the same way Obama lied about closing Guantanamo, right? They do that all the time. But the point is, we cannot afford to get China wrong, and yet the relationship is structurally deteriorating. This is a country that we need, 2 largest economies in the world. We have an immense need for each other in terms of our exposure, the treasuries and their investments, in terms of our trade flows and the rest, and yet we are at war with them on cyber. Today, we are at war. And there's massive conflict over security issues in East and South China Sea. Our allies are begging us to play a bigger role there because they're concerned. We haven't lived in an environment where the 2 largest economies in the world are fundamentally frenemies. And as we look around the world, increasingly, many of our relationships that used to be allies or they used to be opponents are now frenemies. Egypt is a frenemy. Pakistan is a frenemy. Russia's a frenemy, though tending towards enemy. Right? Brazil's a bit of a frenemy. Look at central bank policy. Brazil's a frenemy. We do not have the structure of a government yet to deal with economic statecraft and geoeconomics in a world where we're not doing defense with everyone, we're not doing security, we're not doing traditional diplomacy. We're trying to figure out economically how to deal with frenemies. The most important thing that Obama, more likely, or Romney can do when they're elected is to be able to address that fact.
We're out of time. Thank you both for a very stimulating conversation.